I can't say the name of the store, but I used to work there as a meat clerk, and every time people love bratwurst, and then they would always order wild rice, wild rice.
The one time I went to a really bougie, like 5-star restaurant, I ordered wild rice soup, and it's like the Minnesota wild rice. Like that's apparently like their trademark dish at this restaurant. It was probably one of the best soups I've ever had.
Yeah, like whenever like I'm sick, my dad always makes me wild rice soup.
That's cute.
Yeah, it's good.
But wild rice soup is good. I know it's a trademark Minnesota dish. I know it's harvested. Yeah, it's grown here also in Minnesota. I don't know what makes the rice wild, but it's good.
So wild rice is an annual grain, and it has a really unique growth pattern, I guess you'd say. So it germinates in shallow lakes or marshes, and it kind of just lays on the top of the lake for a good portion of the summer until it establishes its root system. And then it can stand upright outside, out of the lake water, and it actually looks like a field of grass. It's an amazing thing.
What we're doing here is we're doing old style rice parching and finishing. One of the major parts that I like to stress whenever I talk about this kind of stuff is how important rice is to Ojibwe people. And our Ojibwe creation story is basically our religion, our Bible, if one such thing exists. They had prophecies come up to us, and the Miga shell is what told the Ojibwe people that there's a cataclysm coming. There's a great change about to happen to you in creation. And if you want to survive this, you have to head west. And you have to find where the food goes on water. And you'll be able to survive this as Ojibwe people. And so they started migrating west, and each little ways, each different tribe agreed that this was the location, and this was the location, and this was the location. And that became the Ottawas, the Iroquois. All throughout the Great Lakes region, those tribes are all descended from the same story, via our sister tribes. But the Ojibways were the ones that ended up finding the actual food that grows on water. And there's a whole story and history behind that. But the idea is that the rice is sacred to us. And so that's why we take care of it so much.
So it's something that is both sacred, ceremonial, but also nourishing. It was something that we really revered, and we still do. It's something we value so much. We use it almost like currency. And it's a continued fight, but willing to fight for it to help supply our people with this wonderful food.
I think it's really cool now that we were given the opportunity to learn more about how the Ojibwe tribe values this kind of species of rice. I mean, imagine caring so much about this small grain in your hand that you value it almost like currency. Like, I've never cared that much about my food before, but now that I look at wild rice, thinking about how another culture like values it so much is just such a profound idea. I think just the fact that another culture has these amazing values and traditions centered around this grain that I took for granted is such a cool story that I now know. And I think it's also just made me realize there's a whole other level to I guess, this state that we're living in.
After it's parched, we bring it over here to dry. What this is the jigging pit. All we kind of do is rub our feet with the moccasins on it, and it naturally rolls itself out of the kernels and husks. And the idea is you don't stomp, you're just kind of rubbing it and rolling it off of your feet. That's the main thing I try and emphasize, though. We were bigger than we are now. You can imagine this whole forest bank right now would be filled with this kind of stuff. And it wouldn't be just him with the drum. It'd be a group of people taking a break from parching or whatever. So it very much is a family event. So you can imagine if, as we're doing this, someone's out on the rice bed pulling rice off, someone's drying it too. As we're doing this, it's there. And all throughout the whole time when the leaves are brown, that's when this whole operation is kicking. The whole family event is what it is. And then naturally standing inside of a pit, just wiggling your feet might get boring. So there's different songs and stuff for it. They say to sing on the rice bed because the spirits of Monoman, in our culture, we consider them to be child spirits. They're really young. They're really delicate spirits because of the nature of how they grow and how important it is to us. You want to be able to treat this like a kid. You don't want to just, oh, it's an adult, it'll be fine. No, you got to nurture it and you got to make sure that you're there with it.